Section 334.10 of the Massachusetts Electrical Code, which references the National Electrical Code, states that non-metallic sheathed cable, often referred to as NM cable, shall not be installed in non-dwelling occupancies where the exposed surface of the cable or wiring method is subject to physical damage, or in locations where a fire hazard might be created by the cable or wiring method. This requirement effectively necessitates that NM cable, when used in non-dwelling settings, be placed within a 15-minute rated concealment. The core issue at hand revolves around whether a drop ceiling, absent a specific fire rating, can be considered a sufficient concealment to meet the requirements outlined in Section 334.10(3). Given that a standard drop ceiling typically lacks a 15-minute fire rating, it does not provide the level of protection necessary to prevent fire spread. Consequently, the installation of NM cable above such a drop ceiling in a non-dwelling occupancy is generally not permitted under the Massachusetts Electrical Code. The Massachusetts Electrical Code does offer some exceptions. 334.12 ATWO permits NM cable to be installed above a drop ceiling in dwelling occupancies, provided that the cable is not subject to physical damage. It is important to understand why these regulations exist and the consequences of ignoring them. Firstly, the primary purpose of requiring a 15-minute fire-rated concealment is to enhance fire safety. In the event of a fire, the concealment helps to slow the spread of flames, providing occupants with additional time to evacuate and allowing firefighters more time to respond effectively. Secondly, the restriction on NM cable in areas prone to physical damage is intended to prevent electrical hazards. NM cable is more susceptible to damage than other types of wiring, such as metal conduit. If the cable is damaged, it can create a risk of electrical shock or fire. Compliance with the electrical code is not merely a suggestion, but a legal requirement. Failure to adhere to these regulations can result in fines, project delays, and potential legal liabilities. More importantly, non-compliance can jeopardize the safety of building occupants and first responders. When planning an electrical installation in a non-dwelling occupancy, there are several options to consider if NM cable cannot be used above a drop ceiling. One alternative is to use a different type of wiring method that is approved for exposed locations, such as metal conduit or cable with a metal jacket. Another option is to install a drop ceiling with a 15-minute fire rating. There are specific steps one can take to ensure compliance with the electrical code when installing wiring above a drop ceiling in a non-dwelling occupancy. Firstly, determine the occupancy classification of the building. This will dictate which sections of the electrical code apply. Secondly, assess the potential for physical damage to the wiring. If the wiring is subject to physical damage, NM cable should not be used. Thirdly, verify the fire rating of the drop ceiling. If the drop ceiling does not have a 15-minute fire rating, NM cable cannot be installed above it. Fourthly, consult with a qualified electrical inspector to ensure that the installation meets all applicable requirements. To further clarify the requirements, let's consider some common scenarios. Scenario 1 involves an office building with a standard drop ceiling. In this case, NM cable cannot be installed above the drop ceiling because it does not have a 15-minute fire rating. Scenario 2 involves a retail store with a drop ceiling that has a 15-minute fire rating. In this case, NM cable can be installed above the drop ceiling, provided that it is not subject to physical damage. Scenario 3 involves a warehouse with exposed wiring. In this case, NM cable cannot be used because it is subject to physical damage. Instead, a more robust wiring method, such as metal conduit, should be used. Staying up to date with the latest electrical code revisions is essential for electrical contractors and installers. The electrical code is updated regularly to reflect changes in technology and best practices. Failure to stay current with these changes can lead to non-compliance and potential safety hazards. There are numerous resources available to help electrical professionals stay informed about electrical code requirements. These resources include the National Electrical Code, the Massachusetts Electrical Code, industry publications, and continuing education courses. In summary, the installation of NM cable above a drop ceiling in a non-dwelling occupancy is subject to specific restrictions under the Massachusetts Electrical Code. These restrictions are intended to enhance fire safety and prevent electrical hazards. By understanding and complying with these requirements, electrical professionals can ensure the safety of building occupants and avoid potential legal liabilities. Consider consulting with a qualified electrical inspector or engineer to review specific project requirements, as interpretations and local amendments can vary. Firstly, carefully review Section 334.103 of the Massachusetts Electrical Code to fully understand the restrictions on NM cable in non-dwelling occupancies. Secondly, assess the specific location where the NM cable is intended to be installed, paying close attention to the potential for physical damage and fire hazards. Thirdly, determine whether the drop ceiling assembly has a 15-minute fire rating by checking the manufacturer's specifications or consulting with a qualified fire protection engineer. Fourthly, if the drop ceiling lacks the required fire rating or the NM cable is subject to physical damage, explore alternative wiring methods such as EMT conduit, MC cable, or other approved wiring systems suitable for the specific application. Fifthly, always obtain the necessary permits and inspections from the local electrical authority to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. Sixthly, maintain detailed documentation of the wiring installation, including product specifications, fire rating certifications, and inspection reports, for future reference and to demonstrate compliance with code requirements. The implications of these code requirements on design and installation practices are significant. Electrical designers and installers must carefully consider the occupancy classification, potential hazards, and fire resistance ratings of building materials when selecting wiring methods and planning electrical installation. In non-dwelling occupancies, the use of NM cable may be limited to areas where it is adequately protected from physical damage and installed within a 15-minute rated concealment. Alternative wiring methods such as EMT conduit, MC cable, or other approved systems may be necessary in areas where NM cable is not permitted. Proper planning, material selection, and installation techniques are essential to ensure compliance with the electrical code and the safety of building occupants. There are specific scenarios and interpretations related to NM cable installations above drop ceilings that warrant further consideration. For example, some jurisdictions may allow NM cable to be installed above drop ceilings in non-dwelling occupancies if the cable is enclosed in a raceway or conduit that provides equivalent fire protection. Other interpretations may allow NM cable to be installed above drop ceilings if the ceiling is part of a fire-rated assembly or if the cable is used for specific low-voltage applications. To ensure compliance with the electrical code, it is essential to consult with local electrical inspectors and obtain clarification on any specific requirements or interpretations that may apply to a particular project. In cases where an NM cable cannot be installed above a drop ceiling due to code restrictions, there are several alternative wiring methods that can be used. These include electrical metallic tubing, often referred to as EMT, which is a rigid metal conduit that provides excellent physical protection and can be used in exposed or concealed locations. Another option is metal-clad cable, often referred to as MC cable, which consists of insulated conductors enclosed in a flexible metal jacket. MC cable offers good physical protection and is suitable for use in both exposed and concealed locations. Rigid metal conduit, often referred to as RMC, is another option, which is a heavy-duty metal conduit that provides maximum physical protection and is often used in harsh environments or where extra protection is required. Finally, flexible metal conduit, often referred to as FMC, is a flexible metal conduit that is used for short runs or where flexibility is needed. FMC provides some physical protection, but is not as robust as EMT or RMC. The selection of the appropriate wiring method depends on factors such as the occupancy classification, environmental conditions, and the level of physical protection required. Electrical designers and installers should carefully evaluate these factors and consult with local electrical inspectors to ensure that the chosen wiring method complies with all applicable code requirements. It's important to remember that code compliance isn't just about following rules, it's about ensuring safety. Electrical codes are in place to protect people and property from electrical hazards. By understanding and adhering to the code requirements, electrical professionals can contribute to a safer environment for everyone. Firstly, prioritize safety above all else when designing and installing electrical systems. Secondly, stay informed about the latest code changes and interpretations. Thirdly, consult with local electrical inspectors to ensure compliance. Fourthly, use only approved materials and equipment. Fifthly, follow manufacturer's instructions for installation. Sixthly, test and inspect all electrical work before energizing the system. And seventhly, maintain accurate records of all electrical installations. In addition to the technical aspects of NM cable installations above drop ceilings, there are also important business considerations to keep in mind. Electrical contractors should be aware of the potential liability associated with non-compliant installations. Failure to comply with the electrical code can result in fines, rework, and potential lawsuits. Therefore, it is essential to have a thorough understanding of the code requirements and to implement quality control measures to ensure compliance. Electrical contractors should also educate their employees about the code requirements and provide them with the necessary training to perform compliant installations. Finally, electrical contractors should maintain adequate insurance coverage to protect themselves from potential liability. By taking these business considerations into account, electrical contractors can minimize their risk and ensure the long-term success of their business. There are potential future trends and changes in electrical codes and technologies that could impact the installation of an NM cable above drop ceilings. For example, advancements in fire-resistant materials could lead to the development of drop ceilings with improved fire ratings, potentially allowing NM cable to be installed above them in non-dwelling occupancies. Similarly, the development of new wiring methods with enhanced physical protection could provide alternatives to NM cable in locations where it is currently restricted. As technology evolves, electrical codes are likely to adapt to incorporate these changes and ensure the safety of electrical installations. Therefore, it is important for electrical professionals to stay informed about these trends and changes and to be prepared to adapt their practices accordingly. The specific requirements for NM cable installations above drop ceilings can vary depending on the jurisdiction. While the National Electrical Code provides a general framework, local amendments and interpretations can significantly impact the application of these requirements. Therefore, it is essential to consult with local electrical inspectors and authorities to determine the specific requirements that apply to a particular project. Local jurisdictions may have more stringent requirements for fire ratings, physical protection, or other aspects of NM cable installations. In some cases, local authorities may even prohibit the use of NM cable above drop ceilings altogether. To avoid potential code violations and ensure compliance, it is crucial to be aware of and adhere to the local requirements.